Hello guys, welcome back to BoreDraw. This is episode 26. We're back after our live stream.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the live stream. It was
Tuesday.
lots of fun.
Yeah, it was a bit different. We enjoyed it though. I hope you guys did as well.
We were worried that it was going to be like a stinker of a game. And it, on paper, wasn't like the most exciting one. But luckily, all the games that happened Wednesday night, the night after we did the live stream, were absolute stinkers.
Yeah, they were horrific.
Maybe apart from the Man United one. I think we picked well.
Just a lack of goals in every game. I don't know what's going on.
1-0s, 0-0s all over the board.
Mate, it's
so
just
dry.
A bad week for predictions as well, I think.
The only thing it's good for is if you pick the right team, fantasy-wise, there's clean sheets all over the game.
Clean sheet, yeah, defend the season right now. But yeah, I mean, we're filming this tonight ahead of the Fulham game, and is it the Leeds game?
Yeah, Leeds, Leicester, Fulham, Villa.
Yeah, we're filming it as Arsenal are playing, so Roz is...
0-0 at the moment.
Yeah, apparently Sambi Lokonga was having a bit of a game. He's
really
showing up. Yeah, saw some positive things about him on
I like
Twitter.
Sambi. He's a good player.
But yeah, it's been a dead week. I mean, we didn't really discuss the previous game week of football.
No, but I think we should start with the topic that is on everyone's lips at the moment, and that's Man United and Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, so obviously how long was it before the end of the game?
I'd say like 5-ish minutes.
Yeah, he decides, fuck this, I'm going to walk down the tunnel, go have a shower.
It's a problem because he's seen as like the most professional footballer on the planet. He's like 37, still tip-top condition, training like he hasn't won everything, blah, blah, blah. And he's known for his like professionalism. And that just reeks.
Yeah, I mean, but his professionalism is different in a way. Like, James Milner has professionalism.
Yeah.
James Milner wouldn't walk off down the tunnel 5 minutes before the end of a game. Obviously his drive and attitude are like... His attitude to be the best is what made him the best in the world at points. But, yeah, I don't know. He's been a bit of a maverick at other clubs. Like, there was times at Real Madrid where he wasn't, like... showing the Ronaldo he was. There were issues. Juventus as well. You know, like he's not been a quiet player.
I don't think you can be a quiet player when you're Cristiano Ronaldo.
He's
always going to be in the limelight, isn't he?
100%. But yeah, it doesn't really show him in a good light. I've seen some people saying the way they treated him is disgusting.
You see Piers Morgan come out and back him, and I was like,
Piers Morgan shouldn't have a football opinion because he doesn't know anything about football, does he?
Absolute clown.
He's loud when Arsenal win, and then he's like doesn't say anything.
The
for
definition
the
of a couch pundit.
So are we. But yeah, I don't know. It is a weird one because obviously he's a great player, but is he good enough anymore? That's a real question.
No, I said this before the game. It's like Man United have been in a sticky situation since they got Ronaldo because statistically, and I think at first it was an opinion. Like, are they better with him? Are they better without him? And there wasn't enough of like a pool of stats to figure out either way. But now it is definitely factually correct to say Man United play so much better without him. The pressing's better, the passages of play, the link up between the front three. It allows you to get more relaxed players like Bruno and Eriksen in your team, even though Eriksen didn't play last night, because the pressing is good. But yeah, they've been in a tricky situation because when they're paying Ronaldo, let's say 600 bags a week, and the club is run by bankers pretty much that want to sell Ronaldo merch, blah, 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 him not playing is a problem for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think as well, you look at United, they had an abundance of chances last night against America as well in the what was it? The Champions League.
Oh, yeah.
Was it Champions League?
No, the Europa League against Ammonia.
Sorry.
My mic's going to fall.
It's been a long day. Yeah, is your mic having a bit of an issue right now? Alright, hold on. Let's pause. We'll be back in a second. Don't worry, guys.
Back.
We've recovered the mic.
Yeah,
don't
the
worry, guys.
setup lives on.
But yeah, you're saying you're paying him 600 bags a week. You want to sell them merch and stuff. United created an absolute abundance of chances against Spurs. And they've had games where they have really created a lot of chances. They won the other night in the 94th minute winner by Scott McTominay after creating like 20 shots on target or something crazy. They are lacking that person to put the ball in the net. And is there anyone in the world who's better at doing that than Cristiano Ronaldo?
Yeah, it's such a tricky kind of pros and cons.
I saw it was Thierry Henry called out Marcus Rashford last night about he had that opportunity where he opened the goal up for himself, but instead of trying to like just side foot into the back of the net, he's taken like a wild swing at it.
Rashford is so polarizing because he like is so good, but I don't know. He just needs to. His end product, I swear, was never this bad, but now it's like so poor. And he had so many one-on-ones last night that. And Lloris isn't a good goalkeeper, but he made Lloris look like a good goalkeeper.
Yeah, he tweeted out from the BoreDraw account as soon as the game started that Lloris is
he's a howl away to happen. I've said it since day one. Bang average goalkeeper. Their defence is bang average. Midfield forward, and I don't even rate midfield. They're good. Son, Kane, Kulusevski, Richarlison, good players. Højbjerg on his day. I'm not sold on Bentancur, but then defensively and their goalkeeper, shite.
Do you think, because they lined up the other week with like a 3-5-2 with the three in the middle and then, yeah.
They did that this game.
Yeah, and it looked better. I don't know how United set up, like, which sort of stopped Spurs being able to provide those passages of play on the counter. But this sort of, we say it time and time again, this pragmatic football, it's not appealing.
So dry.
And it only works when the teams play into you. And United played into them, but they outplayed them.
They outplayed in every department. Lisandro Martinez pocketed Harry Kane. Son was bang average. The midfield three for Spurs got outdone by Casemiro, Fred, and Bruno Fernandes. I don't rate Bruno Fernandes that highly. I think he goes missing in a lot of games. But he had a worldie this game. Got man of the match, I think. He was running the midfield. And you think it'd be pretty easy for someone like Basuma to just sit on Bruno Fernandes, mark him out of the game. He struggled. Bruno Fernandes was running it. It was crazy.
Yeah, I was disappointed as well. I had a Harry Kane captain. I was expecting him to get a couple. He usually does quite well against United.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so Conte's come out and he said that we shouldn't consider Spurs title challengers. And up until before this game, they weren't far behind the top of the table.
Yeah, I think they were 4 points behind.
4 points, yeah. So
might be more.
Obviously, Arsenal and City both have a game in hand now because they haven't played this midweek. But I understand the mentality of it. But the title race this season is far more open than it's been a lot of seasons. Like, obviously, Liverpool aren't playing the way that we've seen them play for the previous seasons. Arsenal have shown that you can stick with the likes of City and even lead the race. To write yourself out of the title race, is he trying to ease the pressure on his team, on his players, or is he trying to be like sort of do the opposite, a bit of reverse psychology? It's like, I'm going to write us out the title race, so you guys prove to me that we should actually be in it. Yeah,
I think you get two kind of managers, don't you? You get managers that stick by the players and take all the heat, like you saw in Arteta in the All or Nothing when Arsenal on that super shit run of form, and he was like, I will take all the media hate for you. You don't need to stress. Just do your thing. I'm here to protect you guys. Or you get managers like Jose Mourinho, like Antonio Conte, that will call out the players and be like, so Conte came out and said, we struggle in the big games. We've been rubbish against Chelsea. We've been rubbish against Arsenal. We've been rubbish against Man United. So I think he is the kind of manager that if stuff isn't going well, he won't shy away from digging out his team.
Do you think with this approach to football and like getting results when they haven't been their best, but always sort of managing to get points on the board and sticking there and thereabout, do you think this approach to him saying we're not a part of the title race, we shouldn't be considered, do you reckon that's a sneaky way of him trying to go like undercover? Maybe sneak his way there, like don't be considered part of it until you're right at the end, and maybe you can give it a go. I don't think
he has the kind of quietness to do that. People like them getting Champions League last year and then recruiting the likes of Richarlison, fucking
Perisic. Basuma.
People were saying they had the best window out of every team. And then people were putting them for, I don't know, finishing second, third. Some weirdos had them to win the league. So I don't think any kind of Conte silence or hiding the fact that they're playing shit is going to let them go under the radar. I think they're in a bad run of form and their eyes are on them at the moment.
So Arsenal, look at the league in a sort of a broader aspect here. Arsenal and City look like the two teams to beat at the minute. And and then you see like a pretty fat drop in standard.
Yeah, the drop is pretty big,
from
isn't it?
second to third, where you've got the likes of Spurs, maybe Chelsea, United, Newcastle, and Liverpool as well.
Yeah,
like that third place it could go to like 8 different teams at the minute.
Yeah,
because
100%.
We'll move on to them in a minute. But Chelsea aren't looking like half the team they were under Tuchel, under the reigns of Graham Potter now. They look like they're very much struggling to get going and get out of first gear. Liverpool, we've seen when they want to, they can obliterate teams.
Yeah.
And they didn't obliterate City, but they played their game to a T. And they managed to come out last night as 1-0 victors over West Ham in a game that they probably should have lost, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. I watched like the first 45 minutes until the Man United Spurs game came on. And they started well, Liverpool. They started well. Darwin Núñez, he's such a polarising player because like one game, like his cameo against City was possibly the worst cameo I've ever seen from a football player ever. And then the way he started against West Ham, they've got a solid defensive unit. Craig Dawson, Kurt Zuma. They're not like
protected by Declan Rice.
They're not centre backs that
get turned over.
Exactly. You got to be about yourself, and he was like within the first 10 minutes, he'd like scored, hit the post, made Fabianski do a worldy save, and he was on crud that game. But then, as soon as they got the goal, Liverpool, all West Ham. Jarrod Bowen missed a penalty. Loads of chances. And, yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one for Liverpool at the moment because I think the problems are worse than we think they are. And the City game, I think, is just papering over cracks.
Yeah,
I think it's easy to turn up. Well, not easy, but like, if you're Liverpool and you've been known to compete with City for like 5 seasons now, every Liverpool player, no matter what form they're on or kind of how they're feeling about themselves, will turn up for this game because they're now pretty much your arch rivals. And so form goes out the window. And they got the win, which is good. But it's what they do afterwards. And fair enough, they got the 1-0 win against West Ham. You move on to the next one. But in my opinion, there's still problems there.
Oh, 100% there's still problems. I mean, you saw them batter Bournemouth 9-0, and then they went on a terrible run. We've seen them beat Rangers, what was it, 9-1?
7-1?
7-1, yeah. And then suddenly it comes to the Premier League and they're not able to put it past teams of like actual quality.
They need
Obviously,
more goals
Rangers
from Salah.
and Bournemouth have some quality, but you know, I think they looked best when Salah was playing as that number 9.
Yeah, it's
but how
hard.
do you sign a player like Darwin Núñez for that amount of money,
Not playing,
and then literally just put your 33-year-old Egyptian winger through the middle?
Yeah,
and like they don't have an abundance of options out wide on the right. They're looking at the likes of like obviously with the injuries to Jota and Luis Diaz, you got Carvalho and Harvey Elliott.
Yeah, they're both good players, but for a team that wants to be competing at the top of the league, they're not there yet. They might be in like 5 years, but not right now.
I've seen some very interesting, very rogue shouts to play Trent.
Yeah, well, apparently
not even in a right
have a
mid,
cameo.
but in a right winger role.
Well, is that where he came on against City for his 5-minute cameo?
I think it was like a right midfielder because they had that sort of like 4-4-2 weird, like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's interesting, and maybe that's something you can use to help like boost the player's confidence. If he can play further at the pitch and not to worry about the defensive side so much, you won't get that sort of slander against him. And not to say it's unwarranted because he has been poor defensively. But yeah, it's an interesting approach to it. Obviously, they've got Calvin Ramsey as well, who's looking ready to go. So that could be an interesting little development. But yeah, Trent started last night, didn't he?
Yeah. I think for some teams, the World Cup can't come soon enough. And for other teams, it's like fucking the World Cup is the worst nightmare. Like Arsenal, all momentum at the moment. And the last thing you need is players going away,
potential injuries,
getting injured, losing momentum, blah, blah, blah. But then there's teams like Liverpool riddled with injuries. Teams like Chelsea gives Potter time for the players that aren't going on the World Cup to learn a bit more about Potter's style. So it's like one of those. It's like either fucking get the World Cup started or nah, it's long.
Yeah, I mean, we could be looking back at the end of the season at this World Cup break and thinking that derail Arsenal's chances.
Yeah, big time.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, they're going to have like almost all their starting 11 playing for their home nations. But City have got the likes of Haaland, who's going to be staying back. He's going to be fit and ready to go.
Haaland's going to be a problem.
Against potential players who've played 90 minutes in and out for their country against tired legs. You know what I mean? Haaland could be
in Qatar as well. Going to be like, is it roast in there? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean they're going to come back from like being in an oven to being into a freezer. Yeah, it's going to be mental. And there's not like a break from the end of the World Cup. I know obviously not all the players are going to make it through to the knockout stages and to the final, but it'll still take it out of you. If you play an extra 100%. You play an extra 4 or 6 games or something, it's still miles in their legs, isn't it? And it will come back to hit you at the latter stages of the season. You see it with players like go to AFCON. Look what it's done to Salah.
Yeah, Salah hasn't been the same, man.
He looks really good against City, though. I can't get over that performance. I think he was electric.
Why was he so dry against West Ham? I captained him.
Yeah. You got him back in this week. Yeah, Mo Salah not
repaying the faith.
Not repaying it. No bounties from Salah this weekend. Or it was midweek. It's weird having midweek fixtures.
It is.
I liked it being on Amazon Prime though.
Yeah, shout out Prime. It's decent.
Prime coverage was actually so good.
Yeah, it's really decent. They haven't got annoying commentators as well.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And the fact you can flick through all the games and like it's no hassle.
It's good. Calm. I hope they get more football.
I hope they get all the rights and I don't have to worry about paying for Sky or nothing.
Yeah, fuck them, man.
Literally, I'll just be able to use
Sky
my Prime.
If you want to get us on.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what? Overall, this midweek has been very, very dry. Should we talk about Chelsea and Brentford for a little bit?
Yeah.
Graham Potter has not dazzled since his arrival at Chelsea.
He hasn't
enchanted. He hasn't cast his spell.
Avada Kedavra.
Yeah, man, he's killing the vibes.
Nah, big time. So we kind of, when we did our predictions for the Brentford game, we had like the Premier League form, which was pretty average, and the Champions League form battered AC Milan twice. And so it was kind of hard to gauge where Chelsea were at under Potter. And if anything, the Brentford game has made it so much harder. A 0-0 draw away. Arguably Brentford were the better team. I don't know what the problem is at Chelsea.
If you're a Chelsea fan, obviously they sacked Tuchel sort of. It wasn't out of the blue because there was rumours, but it did seem a bit unfair because he wasn't actually performing that bad. Like, the performances weren't there, but there is always times where clubs stagnate and like they'll go on 4 or 5 games where they don't look their best. They didn't give Tuchel the time to rectify it. But I'm going to put it to you. If Chelsea finish this season and they go on and they win the Champions League but finish 6th in the Premier League, is that a successful season for them?
Fucking another Champions League.
Do you know what I mean?
I'd take that in a heartbeat.
Because they look on fire in the Champions League. They're a completely different unit.
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those things where like, so you get back into the Champions League anyway, so I'd say yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd take that.
There's probably been a point in the last few seasons when teams have watched Liverpool and City break 100 points, hit 90 points season after season, where a lot of teams have probably gone, there's no point trying to compete for that.
How do we catch that?
We'll compete for 3rd and 4th, and then play our attentions elsewhere. But then obviously Liverpool and City have done really well in the Champions League as well. They were unstoppable. Spoke about this with Spurs, like, the Premier League is there for the taking this season. I'm not just saying that because Arsenal are leading it, but you know it is an open race at the minute. Liverpool and what now? Like still 14 points behind.
Yeah,
or it might be 11 after last night. But you win 3 on the bounce, you know, and Arsenal, you know, get a couple of draws. And
still
stuff
is
like
early
that.
doors in the
exactly.
season.
So yeah, it's interesting. Talking about Potter and Chelsea's play style a bit more, I don't really see the same similarities in the passages of play that he was playing at Brighton in this Chelsea team. I know he's got different assets to utilise in how he wants. Like he's got players like Raheem Sterling. Who else have we got? Like Mason Mount, who, although you could see them slotting into his Brighton team, he hasn't got that sort of like core through the middle build-up play that, you know, they were known for.
Yeah.
Obviously, Chelsea, we spoke about them after the transfer window. They're lacking that sort of like midfield playmaker.
Yeah, I think Potter, I think he likes playing out from the back. That's what he kind of had with Brighton. He had Lewis Dunk, Adam Webster, Veltman, 3 pretty capable centre-backs for playing out from the back. And Chelsea have fucking abundance of centre-backs, but maybe he just hasn't got them clicking yet because he's just trying to figure out who's going to be his starting centre-backs. I like that he's brought Kepa back into the team.
He had an probably the best goalkeeping performance of the season against Aston Villa. He was
blinder.
He was unbelievable. He was great against Brentford as well.
Yeah.
Making 5 saves.
But the problem is, how can Chelsea, on paper, they look at double games of Aston Villa and Brentford. That's 6 points.
That should be 6 points, yeah.
That's 6 points. And, yeah. I know they got lucky against Villa.
Yeah, Mason Mount had a very good performance.
But, they were second. And it's almost like the Spurs situation where they're the worst team pretty much every game in the Prem at the moment. And
how do you go against Aston Villa, and make them look like a top
prime
4
Barca,
team?
yeah, it's crazy.
Genuinely, Aston Villa are might play some of the maybe the worst football in the Premier League at the minute.
100%. In my opinion, worst football in the league.
Your Chelsea Football Club, you've gone to spend however much money in that transfer window. Brought in the likes of Aubameyang, Sterling, Koulibaly, and you can't make it click. It's worrying because obviously they brought in Potter because of his aptitude to projects, but at the rate this is going, he won't make it to the end of the year. He won't make it till Christmas.
Yeah, I think the problem with Chelsea was that the transfer window didn't come in line with recruiting Potter, so they signed hella players on big money. I can imagine Sterling's on racks.
They bought in Aubameyang, and his video was literally like
Koulibaly on racks. And then they got rid of Tuchel, brought in Potter for this project, but he hasn't had the opportunity to sign the players he wants. He probably would have nabbed a couple of men from Brighton. And so, there's no kind of synergy between what Todd Boehly had in mind. And it goes back to when we did the podcast about the Tuchel sacking. And if this was the plan, why didn't you get it done prior to the transfer window and allow Potter a window with his money? Because now, effectively, all you've done
is bloat your team.
Set Potter back 6 months because he's probably going to be working with a team that he's thinking, let's say 50% of you aren't
he's not going to be able to spend money.
50% of you aren't going to be my players anyway because I don't like how you fit into my system. So, I can imagine the likes of Aubameyang, not really a Potter player, or I don't know, XYZ. And so you've set him back 6 months. He'll get to January. He's not only got to recruit the players he wants, he's got to get rid of the players he doesn't want. And you could have done that all in the summer. It just all seems a bit...
It's backwards.
Yeah, it's all a bit stupid.
Before we wrap up this segment, do you think this is now a true test of Potter's pedigree as a manager? That was hard to get out. Potter's pedigree.
Yeah.
Because he's gone from a system at Brighton where he's sort of had the perfect clean slate. He's been able to mould it into it. He's had the time. He's had the ability to bring in players. Obviously, Brighton's recruitment's been fantastic. And you've seen the likes of bigger clubs like Spurs and Chelsea come in and take players like Basuma, Cucurella, Ben White as well. Is this a true test of his pedigree as a manager to be able to go into a situation where it's not ideal, he hasn't got the players exactly that he wants, but he needs to now make a system that suits these players and can propel Chelsea Football Club into, the likes of contending with, Arsenal and City at the minute?
Yeah. There's definitely an argument that he could be out of his depth. He's never had a job like this in his life. He's come into arguably the most ruthless club in the world. The most decorated Premier League team in the last 10 years. Obviously, they're under new ownership, so I'd love to have been a fly on the wall when Boehly was kind of selling his project to Potter. And obviously, Potter's probably looked in at the Chelsea project and been like, fuck me, this manager's been sacked for winning the Champions League. Di Matteo, this manager's been sacked for winning the Champions League. Thomas Tuchel. What if I don't win anything? How quickly will I get sacked?
You got to win 2 Champions Leagues per season.
Exactly. So he's probably... I want to know what Todd Boehly said as a remit for this season, especially with the transfer window that we were just talking about. I want to know if Todd... say Potter finishes, like you said, 6th and wins nothing, is Todd going to chop his head off?
Got a little question for you in the audience, just to mull over before we end this segment. Are Chelsea a better team now than they were under Frank Lampard before he got sacked? Yes or no?
As in like playing or as in squad wise?
Just overall.
Okay. My answer is yes, by the way.
I think so as well. Improvement, baby.
The squad's worse, the playing style's better.
Ooh, interesting. Let us know down below. We're going to take a little break and we'll be back in a minute.
Bash.
Right. Well, this was a dead game week. So we're going to talk about the game that we watched the other night.
The game with the most goals, yeah.
It was good, though. I enjoyed it. It was an interesting battle, and I was very impressed with how dominant Palace were for large parts of the game.
I think both teams did look good. Both teams had... So it wasn't like a United Spurs where one team was categorically shite and the other team just peppered them. It was an end-to-end game. Wolves looked decent. For a team that can't score a goal to save their lives, a team that's managerless, they looked pretty decent. And Crystal Palace, for a team that's had like a pretty rough start to the season, fixture-wise, and like not getting
the
points
results
where
they
should have been getting. It was a good game for two teams that are probably seen as a bit of out of form, but yeah, it was a good game.
I thought Michael Beale was a bit of a polarising figure that night. There were points where he was very good, but he looked like a player who needs games to build that confidence because he's definitely got the talent.
Yeah, I think I was on record saying that he was the worst player on the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, but there were glimpses though, and with a player like that, you just got to get those glimpses to become flashes, and then from flashes they got to be highlights, and then eventually he's taken on every man, and he's taken on players because he's got that confidence.
Yeah, he strikes as a confidence.
He hasn't had that long stretch in the team yet.
Yeah.
And he's probably at fault for the cross that Bueno puts in. Shout out to Kinder. He was a player, man. Yeah, he should have been there tracking back. And I saw someone tweet that if Ayew had been on the pitch, he would have seen that happening beforehand. But that's experience,
Yeah.
But he does put a lovely ball in for the Eze goal. It's a well taken finish from Eze. Palace were the better team. They did deserve the result on the night.
Yeah.
I think they showed really good passages of football. I think the second goal they scored, it's an absolutely wonderful pass from Eze, and Edouard makes that run really far out to the left wing, and then it's a beautiful bit of skill, and then a great pass from him to reach Zaha. I mean, is it Kilman or Collins who stretches and misses it?
Yeah, Kilman.
I mean, it's one of those things that happen, but Zaha's in the right place, right time, cool as can
Zaha
be.
had a really good game. He started off, he got clarted first minute by Nelson Semedo.
We thought that was going to be spicy.
And I thought he was going to be sent off by like a quarter of an hour in, but kept his cool. He doesn't do that much anymore. He used to back in the day lose his cool and get sent off. Maybe he's scared of doing that in front of Patrick Vieira because Patrick Vieira fucking
but I mean, it's probably experience as well. Yeah,
is he captain now? He's captain now, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I think Milivojevic is club
captain.
Maybe him or like Anderson or Gay. Gay's captain.
Oh, is he?
I think Mark Gay might be captain.
God, imagine Zaha getting.
But anyway. But like I'm also on the mindset of like I want my captain to be either a deep midfielder or a defender, someone who can see the pitch.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're a striker, like you're mainly focused on playing off the shoulder. You're watching the defenders half the time.
Yeah.
I mean that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah. But good game. Palace, like you said, deserved to win.
Are Palace a potential outsider for like maybe European?
I think so.
I think they've got more than enough about them.
I think the discussion would be like Newcastle, Palace, or I don't know.
I think
maybe Brighton or
Elise.
Something like that.
I've seen Elise playing, he's better out on the left because he can drive it into like the touchline. He loves hugging that touchline. He looked a little bit lost out on that right wing, especially. I mean, he's got what's the Donny's name? Joel.
Oh, Joel Ward.
Joel Ward, yeah.
Right. Yeah, he probably dragged him down,
be fair, that's it's not the most feeling of confidence having Joel Ward behind you. I mean, like, the guy's never done anything wrong to me, but we just hated on him.
We were on his neck that game.
I mean, I think Elise will be a better player when we see him out on the left a bit more, but that's sort of Zaha's position. So, but we said during the game, we'd love to see Zaha play through the middle.
Yeah.
I think he's so dangerous for him because his link-up play is brilliant.
There's a lot of people talking about him now because his contract ends. He runs out of contract at the end of the season.
Do you think he's missed his big opportunity for like a big move now already, though?
I don't know. How old is he?
He's 29, 30.
No, I reckon he's got a big move in him. If he's happy to do like a 2-year with 1 year added on.
Roma's been a big shout. Jose
Yeah,
Mourinho's been a big fan.
I could see him staying in the Prem, but I don't know what top 6 team would have him.
Would he get in? He's not going to get into a City side. He'd probably get into a Liverpool side right now. But is he better than Luis Diaz?
No, but like squad player.
Chelsea go out. Yeah, but would he want to go?
Chelsea, they're interested.
Bro, he's just got stars on his neck, man. He's a star man.
Yeah, that's true. Chelsea, I could see him
sort of done what Jack Grealish didn't do. He stayed with the club that sort of made him.
Yeah.
And now he's reaping the rewards from it. He's obviously they're going to be the highest earner. They'll probably pay him like a fat loyalty bonus and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, maybe for him, see your limitation maybe and go down as a legend, like maybe Palace's best ever player.
Yeah, I back it.
But yeah, and I thought Eze was excellent that night. I thought he was phenomenal in the role that he was put on the pitch to do. I think defensively he's lacking in that 8 role. And I would like to see him played more as a 10. More centrally, further up the pitch, and sort of relieve him of that defensive capability.
Yeah.
But we've seen what he can do in tight spaces, like in his own half. He's dribbling it out of trouble, and he's like drawing fouls and relieving pressure on the defence quite a lot, which is interesting to see. I'd love to see him in the England team. I think I've seen rumours that he's in Gareth Southgate's 55-man squad.
Yeah, I saw Gareth has apparently made a 55-man squad. What clown?
Fucking 55 men. Are you joking me? There is not 55 good English players on this.
Honestly,
in the Premier League.
He must have picked some rogue dons.
My man's scouring League One.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think he would do a very good job for England. He brings something different that a lot like we don't really have. He's not necessarily a better player than the likes of like Maddison or
I wonder if Maddison's in the 55
Calvin Phillips, things like Mason Mount. I'm not saying he's better, but he does a different job.
Yeah.
So it's you're adding another string to your bow.
Yeah, another dimension.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I think maybe it might be a bit too much to throw him straight into a World Cup tournament though.
Yeah.
But then again, like he's what now 22, I think 23. So get him in there, mate. Just fucking get him in there.
Yeah.
No,
I like Palace. Yeah, we'll talk about Wolves. My problem with Wolves, and kind of a similar problem with Palace, but probably doesn't. We wouldn't say it because they won the game. Both of them just need strikers that can score goals. I know that's like the hardest job in football and all that jazz, but both teams, they create enough chances. They've got enough decent technicians in and around the pitch.
They look really good when
they
Guedes
feed
came
chances,
on. When
but they need someone to put it in.
Guedes came on, they looked very dangerous around that right-hand side. He made a couple of really nice cutbacks in the box. Moutinho as well was quite influential when he came on. He was really dictating the game, and
100%.
So that last spell that Wolves had, he was sort of the maestro behind it.
Yeah. Just someone that can get 10 goals. Not even asking for much. 10 goals a season for both those teams, and I think that gives them a couple of spaces.
I mean, if you're Wolves though, you might look back at that game and think you're a bit unlucky there because they've obviously scored a really good goal from that Bueno cross. And then Neves has hit the post from a phenomenal free kick.
Yeah.
And then Gay almost conceded a penalty in like the dying minutes. So, I mean, they could have potentially scored 3 goals that game.
Yeah, no, I back it. Wolves, they've always been quite good at creating chances. But just since Jimenez and his head injury, they just have no one to put them in.
Yeah.
Same with Brighton, same with Palace. Quite a lot of teams in the Prem at the moment that...
Yeah, it's not the build-up play, because obviously the systems are there, but it's not working out. Speaking of systems, we'll talk about Wolves' manager situation.
So they're currently managerless.
And they will remain that way.
And they went sniffing around my guy's QPR.
Mickey Beale said, fuck Kanye, I ain't going to fix Wolves. Right?
Let's go.
That's who they're getting in. Get Kanye in, he'll fix you.
Kanye's on crud at the moment. Maybe he's the guy.
But yeah, they came sniffing around QPR.
Did you shit the bed when he was named as their first choice?
Yeah, so they went for Lopetegui, didn't they?
They were linked with quite a lot of man.
They linked with Sobos or someone, the ex-Leon manager.
Yeah, Bosch.
Yeah, and then they came sniffing around QPR, and Mickey Beale, if you're not aware of who he was, so he worked on the likes of Klopp, Ancelotti. He was Gerrard's secondary at Rangers when they went on that unbeaten season, and when they went far in the Europa League. He was taken to Villa with Gerrard. They did all right. Since that, then we obviously sacked Mark Warburton, who's now assistant manager at West Ham. We didn't renew his contract, and so we managed to get Mickey Beale from Villa. A lot of Villa fans were devastated he left because he has been said to be the tactical onus behind the success of Gerrard. Gerrard is the man manager, but Gerrard will go to him and say, right, this is how I want us to play. This is like the transitions or like the passages I want to make happen in these areas of the pitch. You design the drills, you design the training sessions that allow us to play that way, and you pick the personnel who's going to get us playing that way on the pitch. So he was very much the brains behind the operation. He's had a really interesting football background. He
went to Brazil?
Yeah, he went to Brazil and learned with Sao Paulo. So he learned like the Brazilian understanding of the game, and it's very much different, obviously, to how us in England and people in France, Germany, Spain all see the game. Everyone sees it differently. So it's really interesting that he's got to go out there, experience, and a lot of the players that he's brought in at QPR are players that he's seen play in youth tournaments. So Kenneth Powell, our left back who scored last night, he's been incredible. The difference between having him and Ethan Laird, who's on loan from United, as our wing backs, compared to when we had like Ozzy Kakai or Todd Kane or like Lee Wallace playing left back, it's night and day. We have an extra dimension to our play now. Ethan Laird is incredible. Man United will be kicking themselves right now that they've let him out on loan because he would be in their first team. He's absolutely incredible. Kenneth Powell, he watched Kenneth play in an under-21s tournament in Netherlands like years and years ago when he was first starting his management. It wasn't under 20, I think it was under 13s maybe. And then he came to QPR and Kenneth was playing out in Holland, and he said, right, this is the first player I want. And he went out to Holland and he spoke to Kenneth's mum, was like, they remembered each other and stuff.
Nice.
And like, so he's bringing in players that he knows. He's brought in Jake Clark-Salter, who worked with at Chelsea. He worked with Trent Alexander-Arnold in his development when he was working under Klopp in the Liverpool Academy. He's worked with big names and brilliant managers, Ancelotti. So he's he's been touted as like a football genius. Like he lives and breathes it in a way that not many people do.
Yeah.
And it's shown through this season with QPR. He's come into a massive job. Like we don't have money to spend.
Yeah. So you gave him his first managerial role, didn't you, at QPR? So it's not even kind of like it's you taking a risk on him and him taking a risk on you. And so
it's very Steve Cooper-esque because he was obviously taken from the international setup, where he hasn't had a managerial role, and then suddenly now he's been thrust into that Forest team and Swansea team. But yeah, no, we've taken a leap on him, and we're top of the table. We're playing absolutely amazing football, and obviously there are games where it doesn't go for us. We got beaten 2-0 by 3-1 by Luton the other night, and it didn't work, but he's a young manager,
and you can see there's something there.
And there were games where we've been watching, and it's not quite ticking, and he'll make a couple of substitutions, and it will work, and then suddenly we blow them away. And like he is no doubt in my mind, he is a fantastic manager. So when Wolves came sniffing, I was very, very worried.
Yeah,
he was named their favourite on the list. Sky suspended betting on him. QPR Twitter had a meltdown. I've seen people on QPR Twitter calling him wart face, shit like that.
No.
And it's like, he's not even gone yet.
No,
it's embarrassing.
Man as well.
It's
He's
embarrassing.
Dig up those
because
receipts.
this man is providing some of the best football within 14 games that we've seen in like 10 years at QPR. He speaks so well of everyone. He's well spoken.
Yeah, he came out today when we're filming this, which is Thursday, and kind of just addressed the situation,
which is what you want.
Just after him turning down the opportunity, it wasn't even the role; it was just the opportunity to speak to Wolves. He turned that down, and so he came out and spoke really well about how he's invested in the project. like I was saying, QPR took a risk on him.
One of his words
so
was,
he owes them like a debt of gratitude.
He said, "How can I tell players to buy into a project? When I'm the first, I could have been the first one to jump ship." Yeah. And obviously, the ship he's talking about is HMS Piss the League.
Yeah, come on. And so we were bantering about this before we started recording. Say he did go to Wolves, takes him. Say by January he's settled in. 6 months. He either saves them.
And they get maybe a mid-table finish.
Mid-table-ish. Or he goes down. Why not just stick out that time with QPR and potentially take your team up to the Prem? Happy days.
If he is as good as he is, then there will be other opportunities. You don't need to take the first
100%.
opportunity that comes its way. And to turn down a Premier League team, obviously they're going to be able to offer you way more money. You're going to have a lot more freedom financially to spend in the transfer window. But it will come for him again. He will, no doubt in my mind, he is going to be a top Manager in years to come.
Yeah.
And he's a English manager, which is even more sort of sought after in this day and age.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's got us playing amazing football. I was very, very worried when the news came out because last night, obviously we played Cardiff, smashed them 3-0. Great performance. Then he come out after the game and he didn't really say much about it. He was like, I just want to focus on the game. Then he's come out today. The QPR media team have given him the platform to address what's happened and he's handled it perfectly.
Yeah.
QPR Twitter had a meltdown and then it had a re-up and like it's been a bit all over the place. You sent me a message and you tweeted on the BoreDraw account and I was like at work. And I was running around, I was screaming. People were like, would you rather lose Willock or Beale? Willock every day. I'd rather lose Willock any day.
Yeah, it's like one man versus pretty much the club's identity. It's like or current identity.
But yeah, I can't even state my level of happiness that he's sticking with us.
Yeah, no, it's exciting.
And
I like it.
Now, this means that the board will go to back him in January because we're now 15 games into the season. We're top of the league, right? In a league which has the likes of Norwich, Watford, West Brom, Burnley, who else we got up there? Sheffield United. Like we've got some big players in that league, and little old QPR are currently leading it.
You know what this reminds me of? Well, not even reminds me of because it's currently happening. Arsenal
potentially
took a leap of faith. Arteta, his first role in management. Mickey Beale, first role in management. Little old Arsenal competing with the likes of Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, and we're both top of the league.
Tottenham. Yeah, no,
the boys are happy.
It's exciting time to be a QPR fan. But it did sort of make me think a lot about the disparity and the gap between the Premier League and the Championship.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's kind of it can be disheartening at times to be a Championship fan because you develop these players with look at the likes of Eze, and you develop managers, and suddenly these Premier League teams who aren't doing quite so well or whatever, they can literally just in an instant snap it up, and your entire project and is set back years.
Yeah, it could be any dimension of it. They can snap up your manager. They can snap up your best current player. They can
snap up your head of recruitment.
Your head of recruitment. You could have like 2 or 3 in your under 18s or under 16s that are good. They could come in, sweep those up. So yeah, it's a scary situation where the big six can just snipe.
Not the big six. It's
pretty much the entire Prem.
Top 20 in the Premier League.
And then the big six do it to like the lower half of the Prem. So it's crazy.
You look at Graham Potter got snapped up from Swansea by Brighton. Yeah. And then he's been snapped up now from Brighton by Chelsea.
Yeah, that's what they say. There's always a bigger fish.
And it does make it disheartening to be a Championship fan, but it is all part and parcel of the brutality of football. But yeah, no, it is all part of football, but that is why it makes it harder as well for teams like QPR who haven't been in the Premier League for coming on nearly a decade now, and how are you meant to compete even with the likes of Watford, West Brom, Burnley, all these men who are getting parachute payments, who spend
Watford getting slapped up at the moment, though.
Who could spend this money, but then they hire the likes of someone like Slaven Bilic, right? Who's a manager with pedigree, right? I know he's not maybe found the success that he had earlier on in his career, but they're still big name managers. And then how are you meant to compete with the likes of that when they could even come in as be a manager?
Yeah.
You know,
you've got to play the kind of visionary route that QPR have played. You've got to take a chance on someone. You can't, like you said, you can't compete signing well-known managers. You've got to go for the project. You've got to go for the unknown.
I mean, we've seen it work as well. People going for like unknown or foreign managers. You've seen the likes of Brentford with Thomas Frank.
Yeah, 100%.
We've seen Huddersfield in recent years with David Wagner.
Yeah.
Daniel Farke at Norwich.
Yeah, there's man.
We've seen it happen. So, you know, but hopefully Mickey Beale's the one to take
Mickey Beale, nice and foreign.
He can be where the fuck he wants. He's ours, mate. He's ours.
He said in the video, he was talking, he was like, I'm going out and all. And I was like, you're a proper English geezer, mate. But
mate. You think he wants to move to Wolverhampton? Never, man.
Nah, no one wants to move there. But we'll move away. A little championship segment for the man out there.
First one of the.
We'll do more. We'll do more. Maybe they'll be in the Premier League segment next year. But we'll do the predictions for next week.
Yeah, we'll be back in a second. We'll do those.
2 ticks.
Yeah, hopefully there are more goals this weekend.
Fucking hope so. Prediction time.
Predictions. We've got some good games this week. Some exciting games.
Do you know we did the predictions off the cuff while we were live? I got the Palace one right. I said 2-1. And
yeah,
it was 2-1.
you did. Yeah. Maybe we need to just put more pressure on it, Roz.
Yeah, I just need to just not think. I think I think too hard.
I'll put you under the bus straight away. Norwich? Oh, I've got championship on my mind. Nottingham Forest versus Liverpool kicking us off on Saturday at 12:30.
It's an alright game, you know.
Nottingham Forest just too shit though.
I think they'll get slapped up, but it's like one of those. Liverpool have been dry, but then they can 9-0 Bournemouth, they can 7-1 Rangers. It's like they could easily win this game 1-0.
It's
and
whether
be
or not
dry
they bring
or slap them.
fourth and fifth gear with them on the coach.
There's no middle ground. They'll either steamroll them and it'll be 6-0, or it'll be like a 0-0, 1-0.
And what are you going for?
I'm going to go for 6-0.
Go for 6-0. I'm going to go for a 4-0 Liverpool.
Yeah, fair.
I'm going to go 4-0. Following that up, we've got Everton versus Crystal Palace.
Decent
Two
game,
teams who
actually,
don't concede a lot of goals.
Decent game. Yeah, and both teams that can't really score goals either. Shouldn't have blown in the mic there. I'm going to go for a 1-0. Ooh, no, I'm not. I'm going to go for a 1-1.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go for a 1-0 draw as well.
Yeah, I was going to go 1-0 Palace, but I think Everton look all right. They haven't been at Goodison for a couple of games, so hopefully they'll be a bit like up for it. Yeah, so 1-0.
Next game, Man City versus Brighton. Brighton were not a great performance the other night.
They've looked not great under De Zerbi, but
they look good against Liverpool though.
Yeah, how much is it they don't look good, and how much is it they just don't have a striker that can finish chances?
Liverpool are causing me problems because I don't know whether teams are just really good against them or Liverpool are just really shit.
Yeah, honestly, Liverpool's so hard.
But yeah, I think Haaland's going to come out with a vengeance after that Liverpool game.
Yeah.
He's obviously at the midweek, so he didn't have to play.
Yeah,
it's been very nice for them.
Could be a
fresh, revitalised Man City team. I think it might be I fancy Brighton to score. I think I'm going to go for a 3-1 to City.
Interesting. I think there's I don't know. I do think it's a City win. I'm torn 3-0 or 4-0. I'm going to go 4-0.
You think you're going to keep Brighton out? Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Nice.
I think Brighton are just constant lack of final product.
Fair enough, yeah. Maybe Mopé leaving wasn't the correct decision. To be fair, he couldn't find a back in the net for them either. So I'll do this one as well because you've done the first two. Chelsea versus United.
Probably the best game, yeah.
I mean, it could be the best game, but it could also be
a rotten stinker. But United looked all right recently, and they absolutely shat on Spurs.
We've just spoken about how shit Graham Potter's Chelsea have been. Apart from they need to go into this game and blast the Champions League anthem as they walk out.
Yeah, honestly,
and get into that mentality. If they do that, it'll be 12-0.
And they're like,
or just wear AirPods on.
Yeah, the whole
AirPods. Yeah. I'm going to go. I think it might be a tight affair, KG affair.
I think KG, yeah.
I think I might go for a 1-0 Chelsea.
Interesting. I think it's going to have like the storyline of Ronaldo just over it. And it's how the Man United players react. It's like, do they drown out the Ronaldo noise and just bloody gun it? Because they know if they play shit,
it's going to be where's Ronaldo?
Yeah, 100%. So I think that might help them in the sense of like they don't want that. and so they're going to give it a bit of oomph. I think it's going to be a 2-2.
2-2.
Yeah.
Not a BoreDraw.
No. I don't know why I said 2-2, you know. It just came to me.
Off the cuff, man.
Yeah.
You've seen the crystal ball. Sunday's fixtures kicking. Why have they got so many games at 2 o'clock on a Sunday?
I hate it.
They keep doing this.
At least Arsenal on TV, but I hate it.
This one's going to get delayed like 2 hours again.
Yeah.
As well. Aston Villa versus Brentford. This could be a dry game. I think we just say it because Villa are involved.
Yeah, I was going to tell you the Villa score, but they haven't started yet. I don't know. I think Villa dry.
Brentford
They
not
could
so dry.
Potentially be managerless. I don't know. Would they have sacked him by then? I don't know. I'm going to go for a Brentford win.
Yeah, I'm going to join you on that.
1-0?
I'm going to go for a 2-0 Brentford.
1-0 Brentford for me.
Yeah, I think Tony might do a bit of biz.
Yeah.
Leeds versus Fulham could be an interesting game.
That's a good game.
Two teams who want to play good football.
Yeah, two teams that were championship regulars not that long ago.
Yeah, not
and
too
now
long
they're
ago.
pretty decent runs of forms in the Prem.
Yeah. Sinistero back for this one, or is he out one more game?
Nah, he's back.
So, yeah, I mean, Leeds will be better for that. Mitro's back for Fulham anyway. I mean, I think he's playing tonight.
Yeah, he's starting tonight. I think there's goals in this game.
I feel a 3-2.
Yeah, I was going to say 3-1, but who to?
I'm going to go for Leeds.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I think Leeds were
3-1.
very impressive against Arsenal.
3-2.
Yeah, but I think Mitro might pop up. Southampton, Arsenal, the bloody Gooners.
The bloody boys, we're actually playing tonight. I don't know what the score is at the moment, but yeah, we've looked really good. Southampton actually have looked shit, but got a decent result. Oh, we're winning 1-0 against PSV.
Let's go.
Yeah, Southampton have looked shit, but they got a decent win against Bournemouth, who are unbeaten in 5. And so, and it's never an easy game when we go to St Mary's, but I do reckon we
slap them up.
I reckon it's a 2-0.
Martinelli on the bench tonight. He was concerned over his fitness, but hopefully the fact he's on the bench tonight suggests that he's fit enough to start.
I do reckon we have them.
What did you say?
2-0.
2-0.
Yeah.
I think I might go for a 3-0 to Arsenal.
That would be nice.
Wolves Leicester. This could be a dry game.
Yeah.
Maddison back though.
Yeah.
Maddison back.
No Mickey Beale.
No Mickey Beale for Wolves. Yeah, clearly that's going to demoralise them. They had their hearts set on him, and Mickey Beale's stolen it away. I'm going to go for a 1-0 Leicester win.
Oh, I like that. You know, I do reckon Wolves will get a goal though. Leicester's defence just whack. So I'm going to go for a 1-1.
A 1-1.
Yeah.
Following that up, the late kickoff on Sunday could be a very interesting game actually. Potentially a bit more. Yeah, I was going to say evenly balanced than Chelsea, Man United, but potentially not. Spurs versus Newcastle.
I'm going to back the bloody Toons, mate.
Yeah, you backed them against United.
And it was a 0-0, yeah. I think Spurs, unless they get an absolute hairdryer from Conte this week at training, which he probably has,
He's got nice hair, to be fair.
Apparently it's a wig.
Is it?
I've heard rumours it's a wig.
Yeah, but you're hearing that from Arsenal.
Arsenal
underground.
Just general
Yeah.
football. We'll do that in like the next conspiracy
episode, yeah.
But
we'll have to wait outside the Spurs ground.
He's like, catch him in the wind and it's like wanged off. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Newcastle.
I'm going to go for a 2-1 Spurs.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yes. To round it up, Monday Night Football.
West Ham, who looked good against Liverpool,
yeah,
against Bournemouth, who've done all right under Gary O'Neill.
I always used to bet on West Ham Bournemouth because it just used to be a goal fest whenever I watched it. And I think it's going to be a goal fest again. I'm going to go for a 3-1 West Ham.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a 2-1 West Ham.
Okay.
I think Bournemouth have enough about them to get a goal.
Yeah.
But I think Skamaka might do some biz, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Skamaka and Bowen, after that penalty miss, he's going to be fuming. That's not good for his England aspirations.
Nah, he actually might not get a call up, to be fair.
Get me in there instead.
Come on.
Yeah, anyway. That wraps up our episode 26, man.
Come on, Rod's going on holiday, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, Roz is off on holiday now.
Yeah, we'll catch you on the flip side after this weekend's fixtures. As always, sub to all the
things. We've got the TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, Twitter.
5-star us on Spotify.
You 5 stars on Spotify.
Like us
Roz
on
will
YouTube.
take you on holiday next time he goes.
Yeah. Let's go. I will. If you're listening to us on Spotify, 5 stars. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit the like.
Do you remember when YouTube used to have
subscribe.
5 stars? That was a throwback.
Have you seen YouTube have done like a kind of design update?
Oh, no.
So like, it fucked up.
Oh, is it the colour of the background of the video like shines around the border?
Yeah, and like, so thumbnails aren't even like rectangle anymore. They're like rounded circles or rounded rectangles, and the like button, when you click it, does like a funny jazz thing. It's a lot of shit going on.
Check it out. Click the like button. See what it does.
Yeah, honestly. But yeah.
Don't test out the dislike button, please.
I haven't actually tried the dislike button. I wonder if it does anything.
Don't try it on our video, man.
Nah, don't. I hope you enjoyed the live stream as well. That was fun. We'll do that again soon.
We'll do another one in the future. And yeah, we've got a collab coming up in November for
pre-World Cup
Pre-World Cup, yeah. We'll be back at the podcast room, hopefully. So, yeah, look forward to that. But yeah, any comments, let us know. Let us know what you think. Talk to us about Spurs, talk to us about Chelsea, talk to us about Mickey Beale, talk to us about how good QPR are. Yeah, love it. Love to see it. Thanks, guys, for listening. It's been BoreDraw, and it's live.
Let's go.